Let's move to the SEC. A team that has to win a game against a team that probably has to win a game. Auburn heads to Missouri. Tigers on Tigers action. Missouri is a 6.5-point favorite at home. Ari, Auburn has to get off the schneid. So Auburn is at Missouri this week. They're at Kentucky next week. They then go home to play Vanderbilt. They cannot lose all three of these games. I've said that. And I remember I got on the Auburn message boards after they lost to Oklahoma, and I said, look, it's fine as long as you don't just lose the next 4 games. Well, they lost to Georgia, which we expected. They can't lose the next 3. They can't. They have to win one of these, preferably 2. They're not that bad. They just keep throwing the ball to the other team. Is this the game where they finally stop doing that and actually win a game?
I'm always with you in the same mindset of like, I'm not going to predict something to happen until I can see that it's possible. You know, like it's the same thing that we just went over with Michigan. It's like, well, I'm like, why? What would have to have changed for me to be like, yeah, they're not going to throw picks in this game? They do it every time they play, every single time. Now, the thing that I'm interested in here is how good you think Missouri is.
I don't know that they're that good.
So, like, because like Missouri was a team that was a fixture in everyone's preseason top 10. They have a very manageable schedule. And, you know, it was a team that I thought was going to make the playoff just based on the path. But what I saw in the A&M game, like A&M manhandled them physically. And like Auburn is kind of built like that.
Yeah, A&M's better physically than most teams in the country. I think we're starting to realize that they're better on the line of scrimmage than a lot of teams. But Auburn is decent on the line of scrimmage. Auburn's offensive line is actually it's strange because that's been Auburn's Achilles heel for God knows how long. Like even the team that won the national title and the team that went to the national title game in 2013, like their offensive lines were not great those years. They're not bad on the offensive line this year. They can run the ball really well. They can open holes, and Auburn always has dudes off the edge. So,
but they run the ball well.
They do.
And like I didn't think Missouri did a particularly good job of stopping A&M from running the football. So like that to me is like such a weird thing to analyze when it comes to Auburn, because on one hand, that team is like 2 or 3 catastrophic offensive turnover mistakes in every game that you don't know when they're going to happen or how they're going to happen, but they just keep happening. But then on the other hand, if you actually watch them play, they move the football quite easily.
Well, the thing is, can Missouri force that? Because we just saw Oklahoma's defense in person. You know, that's a team that can force a lot of turnovers against a really good offense. Against a good offense or an adequate offense, they can force a ton of turnovers. Like, Missouri's not that. You know, Missouri isn't as good as necessarily the defenses that Auburn has just played. I don't know that they're as good as Arkansas's defense.
No.
So I think this is a much more even matchup. I think this should be a pick'em. So I know that you just professed that my belief is that I got to see it first. I don't know that I got to see it with this many points.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Auburn to cover here.
Yeah, I think Auburn money line might be the
play
go here.
You want to go that far? Go for it.
I might go that far, but also too, like, I think they could win the game even with a mistake. I'm not going to act like, oh well, Payton Thorne's got to come out there and play John Elway football. Like, I think that they're going to throw picks, but I think that they are going to be able to move the football pretty regularly throughout this football game. And Missouri's offense looked like
they're going to move the football during the football game.
Is that what I said?
Are you becoming like a professional announcer?
They're going to move the football.
It's my favorite thing that announcers and coaches do.
I hope I don't
when
do
they
that
add
a lot.
When they add the word football in front of the game and they talk about moving the football as if there's another kind of ball that might get supplant or like replaced. Like, we're going to replace the ball today with a shuttlecock.
I think that Auburn is going to move the ball.
Thank you.
In the match. Okay.
Thank you. Just don't say score the basketball. That's all I ask.
I like that one. Redundancy is like my thing, especially when I'm being condescending to people.
Oh,
I like say things like, you know, like if.
So you visit the Department of Redundancy department when you get condescending. Okay.
Like,
we got you.
Like someone's like, why didn't you pick up the phone? And I'll be like, because I was on a commercial aircraft. Like I like make it longer just so they know that I'm annoyed with them. That's what I do. So, yeah, no, I think that Auburn's going to be able to move the ball pretty well, and Missouri's offense looked I didn't love the body language in the Texas A&M game either. And not that
right, and the UMass game doesn't tell us anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna take Auburn to cover here. I don't know if they're gonna win the game, but I do think if they can just have, it doesn't even have to be mistake free. It has to be catastrophic, debilitating mistake free, which they haven't played one yet.
Well, I mean, listen, if Auburn loses this game, they absolutely could lose to Kentucky and Vanderbilt. Like, we are in the absolute danger zone.
Vanderbilt should scare the crap out of them right now.
I think that Auburn, like, the thing with the SEC is, and maybe this is more of a situational thing than just an actual analysis of, like, these two teams, but, like, Auburn, it's hard to envision that they're going to go through the entire schedule and not win 3 times, right? Like, so situationally speaking, like, this seems like a spot where, you know, and even Florida has the dead cat bounce every year where things aren't going very well.
They might have just had that.
And they might have just, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if Florida just wins like, Florida always seems to win a random game you don't think they're going to win every year. Like, I think that this might be a good spot to be like, oh, look at the scoreboard on Saturday afternoon, and Auburn's beating Mizzou in the third quarter.
If you take away the catastrophic turnovers, play to play, down to down is not bad. They are probably kind of an average SEC team. They are not an O for the SEC team. They just aren't.
And if Missouri is an average for the SEC team, they probably shouldn't be. Like,
so
I think
this should be a pick 'em game.
I think money line is a pretty. Money line is the type of play here where you.
Well, say it. Say it with your chest. Let's go.
Well, I'm saying that the safe play here obviously is to take the points, but money line would be like hammer Auburn before the game, wait for them to get up 10-0, and then find a middle there somewhere. Like, that's how I would do it. But I think that Auburn is going to be in a position to win in the fourth quarter.
So you're going to take the money line? I'm
going to take the money line because it's a podcast and, like, whatever. Yeah, that's it. Like, what are we doing?
It looks better on the graphic.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens.
And they don't make people be angry, but, like, do you think it's crazy?
No, I don't think it's crazy at all. I don't think it's crazy. I'm shocked that this game has as big of a spread as it has because I don't think the teams are all that different.